So what do you do for the fussy infant? For the baby who is really fussy and you're not quite sure what's going on with them. Hi, I'm Dr. Obidi, Newborn Prep Academy, and I would love to give you a simple sort of framework to consider when you have a newborn who is very fussy. Now remember, this is for informational purposes only, and so it may not address a specific situation, and you should seek medical advice for your specific situation with your baby. However, when a baby is fussy, one of the things that really drives everybody up the wall and becomes very upsetting is that you don't know what's going on with them oftentimes, right? For a newborn baby, or even in the first 1 to 2 years of life, many of them haven't started to talk, right? Especially for the younger infants. No words yet, so they can't really tell you what's going on. And for the really young ones in the first several months of life, they can't necessarily even point or hold an area of their body that might be causing them discomfort. And so that can be really worrisome. And I totally get it. I don't know if you've heard this story before because I've shared it a few times, but I completely relate. My wife and I have 3 kids. Our oldest is now 19. So, but many years ago, when our first daughter, our first child, and our first daughter was maybe, 2-3 months old, I came back from residency training after doing an overnight shift in the morning, and she had started to have a fever, and my wife was upset because she had a fever and was crying, and we weren't sure what's going on. And I just looked at her, took her temperature, it was 102 point something, or maybe 103 point something. I think it was probably higher, like 103, 104. And I listened to her heart rate, took her vitals, and her heart was like beating it was almost 200 beats a minute. And I just freaked out. Again, this is a physician already, in training as a pediatrician, and I freaked out. I grabbed her, said, "Oh my gosh, she's dying, let's run to the ER." We went all the way to the ER, and excuse me, my colleagues took one look at her, took her vitals, and I was going on and on about how fast her heart is beating, and they're like, "Dr. Obidi, she has a fever. Her heart is going to beat faster because she has a fever." And I was like, yeah, that's true. That's 101, Physiology 101. I should have known that. But all that to say, when your baby is sick, I completely understand you throwing everything out the window, and being completely worried. But I'm going to give you 3 pieces of advice that I hope will serve you well if you do have an infant who's fussy. One is, first of all, be calm. And again, yes, this is from a doctor from a person who, as a doctor, was not calm when his baby had a fever and was fussing. But I do want to encourage you to be as calm as possible, because when you are calm, you're able to think more critically and logically, and also just be in tune with what's going on in that situation, and maybe read the situation a little better, maybe even read your baby a little better to kind of figure out how much in distress they could possibly be in. So be calm as much as possible. When you're calm, you're also able to better remember what resources you have at hand. Is it a friend you're calling? Is it a mom or dad, your mom or dad you're calling? Is it a pediatrician you're calling, or a family provider, right? Friends that may be around that can help you or give you guidance. I think you're better able to think about these things. Maybe it's a situation where you need to call 911. You're going to be in a better place to make that decision if you are as calm as possible. Doesn't mean you're not going to be upset, doesn't mean you're not going to be worried, but it does help you sort of tap into some higher functioning to make those critical decisions. So that's number 1, is be calm. Number 2 is, are any of these things going on with your baby, which might be cue into something more significant going on? Apart from them just being fussy and crying, do they have a fever, right? Which for an infant, especially less than in the first 30 days of life, will be any rectal temperature 100.5 and above. As your baby gets a little older, yes, that would be still considered a fever, 100 plus, maybe temporarily, taking them on the skin. But do they have a fever? Is it low grade, especially for the early infant, a baby who's more than a month old? Is it just low grade, like 100 point something, maybe 101 even? Is it something higher, 102, 103, 104? Some of those things may be things to think through. Are they vomiting, especially persistently? Are they refusing feeds at all? And so they haven't peed, and now they have less wet diapers, especially if they've gone 6 to 8 hours without any wet diaper. Are they having difficulty breathing? Maybe one of the first things to be looking for is difficulty breathing, and that's always very an important sign to pick up in the newborn, because they can get tired very easily after breathing so fast for a prolonged period of time. And difficulty breathing, you can probably easily pick up they're breathing very fast, much faster than they will be at a very sustained rate, right? And they kind of look distressed also oftentimes when that's going on. Not always, but oftentimes look distressed also when they have some significant difficulty with their respiratory system. So those would be things to look for. Dr. Bidi here. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it useful. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and click the notification button so you don't miss a new video when one comes out. Now, I know sometimes choosing the right pediatrician for your baby can be a difficult decision, and that's why I want you to check out my free resource guide. It's a simple 3-part framework on how to choose the right pediatrician for your baby. You can find the links in the description below. Again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you back here again soon.